I read through the polling principles, and the first thing I'd say is that every single one of them resonated really strongly. I really like the framework. A couple that stood out for me were definitely striving for me personally to be my best self every day, and also doing whatever I can to help others. And so what I wanted to talk about is just some of the challenges that some of the women in my life have faced when coming back from maternity leave, or when they've been out of the workforce for a while, just how hard it is actually to try and get back in. And so I've spent a lot of time with women throughout my career who I've endeavored to coach and mentor. But in this particular area, I've noticed that women have really struggled. And it was tough for me too when I came back from maternity leave and was trying to strike that right balance between being back at work, but also leaving a baby at home, and being confused about whether or not how much I was willing to put back into my job at the moment of getting back, and being incredibly torn. It was a tough journey, certainly after my first child. So a few observations before I get into what I've tried to do to help is, within my husband's and my acquaintance, we have several friends who have taken time out, and men as well, and a number of men who have decided to take a year sailing around the world, or traveling around the world, or several months out. But the observation that we've both made is, it seems to have been significantly easier for the men to jump back into the workforce than it actually has been for the women. And I think that it's for a couple of different reasons. I think partly there's a greater burden of proof that the women are actually hungry enough to get back in, and there are questions about whether they're really willing to give it their all to come back into the workforce, given that they've made a choice to be out. Whereas, interestingly, there doesn't seem to be that same burden of proof that is applied to my male friends and colleagues who have taken that step out. So what I have really tried to do throughout my career primarily ends up being women who have looked to me to be a sponsor and mentor because of the personal connection that we have made, though I do mentor men as well. And I've done whatever I can to really guide them through this journey. When, at least coming back from maternity leave, I really try and understand ultimately what are the woman's goals and aspirations, and are they really hungry to give it their all coming back into the workforce, or do they want to slow down a little bit? And I try and help them navigate and help them find roles, or strike the right balance in terms of how much they're willing to give back. But then when they're ready to give it their all, give them those challenging opportunities, and voice to other managers in the organization to give them those opportunities when they are really willing to jump back in. And then for my friends who have not worked for a while and are hungry to get back into the workforce, they may not have the access to the same professional networks that I do as a professional woman. And what I've also observed is some of these women may lack the sort of self-confidence and conviction, even though they've done the most incredible things while they've been out of the professional workforce. So many of them have been very active in their communities, very active in schools, have played these incredible leadership roles, have made amazing things happen. And I feel a certain responsibility to do whatever I can to help them both develop that self-confidence that they have a tremendous amount to offer back in the workforce, and also to provide them with all of the connections and all of the advice that I could possibly give to help them step back in. And I've really been surprised that there aren't more organized programs for helping women get back on more easily. It's a real uphill struggle, and I really think that this is actually a missing opportunity in the professional environment, where we don't have programs that are specializing in bringing talented, well-educated, experienced women back into the workforce.